says he is not going to come.
Okay.
I'll mention that.
JD's not coming?
We'll call the meeting to order. Thank you for coming tonight. Let's stand and have the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's nice to have you all out this evening. You braved the almost snowy weather. So, hi Tony. Mr. Crabb won't be joining us tonight. He's a little under the weather. If we need him, we'll call him. We'll just have to decide what to call him. He asked permission to stay home and snivel at home, so. Huh?
Amen to that.
Yeah, better. It's better. So we'll take any public comments on any of the agenda items. If you have any comment on something that's on the agenda tonight, there will be another opportunity to make comment after the business is covered. Anything? All right. The minutes, if you have reviewed them in your packet, I would take a motion.
I'll move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded that we approve the minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You see a new thing on your agenda here, journal voucher report. That's the peach color. If you've reviewed that. And would you like to explain a little bit of what that is, Kathy?
So various times during the month we have to do JVs. And so if you look like on the very front of the page at the very top one, you'll see the JV number, the reason for the JV. And that just offsets cash from one place to another. So that was the receipt from Greg for the car that was surplus that he purchased for $4,800. We have to do those to make the cash balance in our system. This is a new thing that our auditor is requesting that we put in our packets. So if you guys have any questions on any of the items in here, just feel free to ask.
And I think we've seen some JV things before. It didn't seem super
You have, but
new to me.
we're putting it in permanently
Pretty colored
now.
now too.
I know.
Not just white.
I'll move that we accept the journal voucher as reported.
Moved and seconded that we accept the journal voucher report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Treasurer's report.
I move that we approve the treasurer's report as presented.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded that we accept the treasurer's report as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Claims and payroll.
I move we accept the claims and payroll report as presented.
Yeah. Okay, moved and seconded that we accept claims and payroll as reported. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Our court clerk has took some time off, so we do not have a judge's report again tonight. We'll catch you up on that next month. Mayor's report. We had 3 million, just a little over 3 million gallons pumped in February, or rather January, I'm sorry, and just a little over 2 million sold, so we have a loss of 33%. We know where some of that loss is. In some yards and some things that are impossible to fix right now. Other than that, they're somewhere underground. So hopefully we'll get a grip on that as soon as we find out why we have that loss. The annual financial report has been finished and is accepted, which Kathy's excited to hear and was not excited to do. Many of you are aware that we had a public hearing on the Llewellyn Street subdivision project on the 23rd here at Town Hall. The planning board moved to approve that subdivision to the council, but the council is the final vote on that. And so you'll be looking at that work in the next month, and we'll be continuing to discuss that and our concerns about that. And that decision will come to the council on March 3rd. So be thinking about that and any questions you have or any questions that your constituency has. Be communicating about that, and keep me in the loop too, if you would. The renovation of the city fire hall is progressing. We're doing it in 3 phases, mostly just to kind of keep a budget eye on it and looking for funds, hopefully to help out with it. We're looking at some grant funds that don't look terribly promising, but we're going to try everything we can get to help on that. Right now they're actually starting on the 2nd phase. First phase is done and it looks really good. Had a barbecue in there. Don't want to take your thunder, Tony, but Friday night the ribs were excellent and the place looked really good. The new bays are painted. And how did the rest of the trim go, dude?
He said next trim up today,
Okay,
so
all right, looking good in there.
a little bit of caulking left.
Definitely something that needed done, and now they're moving on to the 2nd phase, which will be moving into that back bay and working on that. The whole point here is to move the firefighters out of those bays, so when we fire up the fire trucks, they're not sucking the exhaust fumes, and so it looks like a good project. The Public Works Department is looking at the purchase of an asphalt hand roller to replace the unit previously on the back of the pug truck. The cost of that is right in the neighborhood of $2,000. Believe it or not, we're actually trying to buy it on eBay because that's kind of where we can maybe get the best price of it. It was a piece of equipment that broke down and was obsolete, and now we're looking to buy a new one. The one thing, and just so you know, the money that we spend on that is really money well spent, because what we can do as a town is fix potholes, and we're trying to do that. So any of you that have nasty potholes, we see them all the time. We drive in them like you do, but if there's particularly bad ones, those are the ones we're trying to attack right now. This time of year isn't ideal for fixing the potholes, but if there's wheel catchers, we try to go out and catch them. That's the one thing that our Public Works Department can do is work on potholes. We'll look to paving some roads in the spring as soon as the winter is over. So, yeah, that's all I have for new news. Tony, maybe you want to pick up where I left off, or officers' reports. Tony, our fire chief, is with us. Do you have anything to share with us?
Yeah, love to. I'll just jump right into the fire station remodel. So the guys and me were super excited. It was much needed. So Aaron went in and repaired all the drywall. We don't have to worry about drywall falling on us anymore. Painted it all up, trimmed it out, caulked all the spiders, keep them up in the attic instead of in our gear. Morale is at an all-time high right now. The station remodel. We're looking forward to getting the lockers out into that new bay. So that's going to be huge for us. So we're really excited about that. And the work Aaron's doing a great job. So it looks good in there. We had our end of the year barbecue we do every year, hand out awards for everybody based on how many hours they got and how many calls they went on. And we always try to make them a nice dinner and get them something. This year I got them some sweatshirts and some decals for the truck window, car window. That was really good. Joel got to go to that and try out some of my wife's cooking, so pretty good. As far as day-to-day operations, we've had a few calls, nothing serious in our jurisdiction. Everything's going pretty smooth. No injuries, no major equipment breakdowns. Mutual aid, a couple decent structure fires. One up in Hot Springs recently was a pretty good structure fire up there. We went up and helped out Hot Springs Fire with that. Other than that, it's been pretty smooth. I've been working on getting us outlined with integrated helmet communication. That's been my big thing. So I'm happy to say right now that all of our guys have integrated helmet communication. So our radios are tied into our helmets, tied into push-to-talks. So instead of having the shoulder mic and missing calls and yelling in through your SCBA mask and all your gear on and missing half of it, now we have an earpiece right in our helmet and a mic in our helmet. So my goal is better communication, less radio calls on the fire ground, which is obviously huge. So we can't hear what's going on. With the guys we can't see, we don't know what's going on. So really excited about that. I went with a MSA Clear Command system that has been around forever. It was pretty easy to get. I didn't spend a whole lot of money on it, so I kind of had to outsource around and find departments that were upgrading. So I got it for a fairly good deal, with my intention of getting the new integrated system slowly. That'll take more of a guy by guy at the deal, or I can get one or two here and there instead of getting all of them in one year. So, and I got one so far, the new Handycom system. So I'll try that out and see how the new one compares to the old one. And, go from there. So, and my focus this year is better communication off our ground. So, and for you guys, I apologize, I haven't seen you in forever. Conflicting schedule with my wife has kept me at home with kids, so I apologize. I'll make it down when I can.
How many people do you have? Yeah.
I got 11 guys right now.
Good.
Yeah, good crew. Those are all clean tests. We got a pretty decent crew right now. I'm confident in them. They can handle just about anything. Even when I'm not around, because it seems like when the big stuff goes off, I'm always out of town or doing something. So I'm confident my guys have stepped up and they've really done a good job. I'm proud of them. You guys got any questions for me? No?
It's nice to see you.
Yeah. John, I don't think I've officially met yet. Anthony.
John. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, morale seems to be at a high point right now. A good crew of guys. They were really impressive in their work on that Hot Springs fire. Good group of people. So, thank you for the work you're doing.
You bet. All right. Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Unless Officer Geenan wants to share anything from the police department.
You have that report.
Can I
Okay.
say something for him?
Can you what?
Can I say something about him?
Sure.
Officer?
We'll go ahead.
You know, I did a story on school security, and he was a big help. How much training that he is bringing to this town, and how he's helping keeping the school secure. Give this guy a good hand. He's put a lot of effort in that. I appreciate what he's done to help me with the story.
Yeah.
I must say he was nice.
I agree. We'll expect him to retire from here
In a long,
in a long
Yeah,
time.
thank you very much.
Very long.
It'll be a while.
Yeah, well,
Long. It comes sooner than you. Yeah. Sooner than you know it.
you'll have fun the whole time though.
I will. I love it here.
I'll give you some police stats. Calls for service in January were 29. Arrests were 8. Criminal and traffic citations were 91. Yeah, and then 6 more by the reserves. Citizen contacts were 5. Business and bar checks were 32. Resident checks were 0. Other agency assists were 10. Reserve officer training hours 2. Reserve officer volunteer hours were 5. And reserves worked for 11 hours of the month. We don't have anybody with the Public Works Department here. I've kind of shared with you some of the stuff going on with Public Works. Library. Vicky, I'm sorry.
Nikki.
Nikki. Vicky's behind you. Nikki, go ahead.
January is always our biggest month of the year at the library. I don't know why either, but it just always is. Very, very busy. I think people need entertainment when it's cold outside. One of our biggest programs is chess club, and so this month we're doing a junior chess club. So all the kids 12 and under can come and compete for some cool prizes and have a day, and we feed them pizza. And anyway, they have a good time. We're also, if we get enough interest, if anyone's interested, we'll do an adult version of it, maybe in March or April. So please let me know. We're kind of embarking on what does the library of 2035 and beyond look like. So we're trying to decide, obviously we love our location and we love your building. It probably needs some love. So we'd really like to, in the future, partner with you and see how we can figure it out, what we need. Where Joel's already given me his blessing to get the place inspected so we can know what we're up against. So my library foundation, I'm trying to really get them invigorated, get them kind of mobilized with fundraising. The staff and I, we're down to just 2 librarians, myself and another librarian right now because money's a little tight. But anyway, yeah, we're also really wanting not only to really invigorate the building, really put it back on its feet, but also, signage that's, the rock is really cool, but, some really good light up in the dark so people can really know where we are kind of signage. The pond is still a question mark, big giant question mark. We do have a volunteer who's offered to do it, but then you're still depending on a volunteer when, finding somebody who can do it on a regular basis is just so insanely hard to find. So it might just be better to just do something else up there. I don't know. So we'll need to get lots of town feedback because I know that pond means a lot to a lot of people. So people help with it there. So. The Library Foundation did buy some new blinds. All of our blinds were from the 70s or something, and they didn't go up and down anymore. So we do have new blinds coming, which we're super excited about. Anyway, any questions for me? I'm good.
Thank you, Nikki. So unfinished business, we have the ordinance on restricting certain businesses, and our council members have that. We do have a few copies of that if anybody would like to also grab one. Where are those copies? Here's some.
The first one just doesn't have a staple. The rest of them do.
And this is something that
Thank you, sir.
I can't touch those.
Oh, it's none of your business.
Is this what's been worked on kind of for a while?
a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
This will be the first reading of it, and we are not going to read out loud other than some of what you pick up here. The council is familiar with it. One of the reasons I'm not, because since it is an ordinance on decency, from the MCA we have some in the descriptions just a lot of words that I'm not going to say from here. Just describing certain pornographic. The gist of this ordinance is restricting the location of a business that might want to come in to the town and put up a business that's sole purpose was in some fashion pornographic or indecent in the town, to limit the places that they could have that type of business venture. So it's been talked about by the council for probably a number of years. We've much of what you'll read in this ordinance is kind of a cut and paste from other ordinances that are in smaller towns. Basically, what it does is it limits the places that business could be put up, so you aren't threatened by having maybe a Main Street business or a business open up next to your house that would be undesirable. Is there any discussion on this from the council?
The 2,500 feet enough?
That's pretty much a kind of an extreme distance that we can make. I have one question. I'll throw it out to you as the council on it. On point H of the places that you can have this 2,500 feet. The distance restriction of 2,500 feet come from the following locations. Or if a business were to come into town, they would have to see that they're 2,500 feet from these following locations: A, schools, public, private, preschools; B, daycare facilities, public, private, or home-based; C, church properties and/or buildings and real estate; D, parks, public, private, and/or town or city-owned; E, hospitals, medical care facilities, clinics, dental offices, or eye care; F, public works facilities, water wells, workshops, sewage facility; G, government office, city hall, town hall; H, residential home and/or lot empty or occupied; I, social service institutions; and J, government operated work area property, which would be like our public works department. One question I have that I'll throw out at y'all, I wonder if we don't kind of overrun the runway on H, where it says residential home and or lot empty or occupied. Again, this is 2,500 feet from that. I think just the last part of that sentence, and or empty lot or occupied. And my thinking on this is the way that seems to read in the ordinance, it kind of seems to be an overshoot in that any empty, I don't know where that would stop, any empty lot. So either I wonder if it shouldn't be rephrased or reconsidered. Do you feel me on that?
Yeah. I think regardless of how you write it, everything else precludes, there isn't going to be one in town at all. They would have to be outside of city limits within 2,500 feet of the closest residential or lot, correct?
Yeah, the residential home and or lot empty or occupied. Yeah, the empty lot, I don't know how that would work. Not that I'm in favor of, giving.
I think the empty lot probably would refer to like a residential lot where there is potential of having a home there eventually. I mean, those people have rights too. And the other thing is that did legal have any problem with it?
No, and it's something we could take back to him.
I don't see any reason to take it
Before-
back to him.
before a
If he's
second
looked
read.
at it once already, why take it back to him again?
Okay. Well, we'll. Any other discussion on it?
No, I had somebody call me who had seen our agenda and asked about it and asked if it was going to include marijuana shops. I said, no, it's sexual things. Oh, okay, I'm fine with that. Okay.
All right. I'll continue to look at that ordinance, and second read will be next month.
Need a motion on the first read?
Can I get a motion on the first read to accept or deny?
I move that we accept the first read.
No, second that.
Moved and seconded that we accept the first read of the ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. New business. Election of council president and committee designations. So each of you on the council have a committee designation either with the Public Works or with the Finance Committee. Does anybody have any frustration with your position? Is this the time that any of you want to make a move or a change? Now would be the time to talk about that, or we'll just set it up for this year.
I'm good where I am. Go for budgets. We love those.
Yeah, let's deal first with committee designations. Any committee designations want to take a change? Or? All right, I'd take a motion to keep our committee designations as they are.
I'll make a motion that we keep the committee designations as they are.
I'll move, second that.
Okay, moved and seconded that we keep committee designations as they are presently. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Also now the election of council president. John Sheridan is our council president right now. John, are you happy doing that, or are you
Sure.
looking for
I'm okay,
a change in that?
unless somebody would rather have it.
I'll nominate John Sheridan for another term as the council president.
I'll second that.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. That's something we want to take a voice vote on. We'll take a.
You can take a voice or either.
Let's take a voice vote on that. All in favor? Go ahead.
Chad,
Yes.
Lana,
Oh, yes.
John D,
Yes.
John R,
Yes.
John S.
Yes,
JD's not here.
John's here.
I know.
And paid for.
All right. Thank you, John, for your service and continued service.
Move your plates back.
Just put all three of you on one side of the table.
Next on new business is the appointment of a Public Works Director. Greg Dickin has served with the town for, I think, 21 years?
23.
23 years. We have a new employee with Public Works. And in the past, Greg Welty was the Public Works Director. We have now, again, 2 employees in the full year and a summer employee. And we thought it was a good idea to go ahead and have a director in that so that we have some cohesiveness. Greg has volunteered to step up to that position. What we would do on that is have him take a probationary term for 6 months on that, and then we would officially appoint him to that position, but he'll start working as he has already as the Public Works Director and filling that role. So I would take a motion to accept Greg Dickin as the Public Works Director.
I move that we accept Greg Dickin as the Public Works Director.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to accept Greg Dickin as the Public Works Director. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I will tell Greg in the morning. We have a couple of appointments to the planning board. I have spoken with Corey Booth and Vicki Evans about a willingness to go ahead and be take another 2-year term on the Public Works Board. Corey Booth will be the county designee on our Public Works Board. Vicky lives in town, and both of these have served very well, I might say, in the past for us, and I appreciate your being willing to take another term. And so I would take a motion to accept Corey Booth and Vicky Evans. We can probably vote on them together to continue to serve for another 2 years both on our planning board.
Now, when we voted her in last month, do we have to do that again?
I'm sorry, we did.
We did Vicky.
Never mind. We did vote her in. The reason I brought her up is because I didn't give you your letter, Vicky, so you're on. So this will be, thank
We
you.
said yes to you last month. You're already in. You can't back out anyway.
Well, now that's 4 years, Vicky, so sorry. We'll just tack it on. Thank you for the reminder on that. I made your letter out, so don't get out without your letter this time. That's why I was thinking that. So it's just Corey.
I'll make the motion that we appoint Corey Booth to the planning board.
A second.
Moved and seconded that we accept Corey Booth for another term on the planning board. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Corey, and welcome. And I have a letter for you too after the meeting. We also have an appointment to the Parks and Recreation Board. Lisa Stutzman has volunteered to serve on that board. We're still looking for a few more people, so if anybody here in the group has any interest in that, speak up. And we're still looking to fill that board out, so preferably a board of 7 people. There's some good work being done, and we'll have committee reports here shortly, where maybe we can hear from Becky on where things are at with that. But Lisa Stutzman has volunteered to serve a 2-year term on Parks and Recreation. I would take a motion to accept her to our Parks and Recreation Board.
I move that we appoint Lisa Stutzman to a 2-year term with the Parks and Recreation.
Second that.
Moved and seconded that we accept Lisa Stutzman to an appointment on the Parks and Recreation. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll get a letter off to her. Committee reports. Administration Committee, I don't think we have anything. Public Works Committee, we've talked about that. Actually, we haven't. Do you have anything to add for us?
Public Works did not meet,
Okay.
though we should.
Yes. Let's maybe plan that in the next week or two.
Yeah, the calendar's not right. I'll stop in and see it later in the week, and we can try to set something up.
Okay, good. We do have business to cover with that, so. Parks and Recreation. Becky, do you have a report?
Yeah,
Hello. Okay. So at our last meeting, we discussed, we purchased 2 dog poop receptacles for the Greenway, and we're looking to get a few more for both parks, so that it's a easier cleanup. When people are coming through town, they tend to leave their mess. We've also discussed finalizing some plans to replace the horse statues as you come into town with some metal silhouettes. We're working on finalizing some letters and possibly getting community involved in maybe some funds for that. So, and then of course we discussed Liza Stutzman for joining, and she's all for it. She's excited. And we've also discussed maybe doing some solar power on the Greenway over by the large spruce trees, maybe for lights. Just part of the discussions in some of our meetings. We have another one set for next week, if you're interested in coming, on Wednesday the 12th at 5:30. Do you have any questions?
Do you meet here?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Becky.
Okay.
Planning board. Corey, do you have anything you want to report? We do have a copy of the minutes from the planning board meeting, so the council's
Not
aware.
really anything extra. I know you guys are gonna be considering that Llewellyn thing. We've been talking about it quite a bit, and so, we recommended that the board approve it. I know there's some things that have been brought up since that might be worth looking into that we may have overlooked. I'm looking into that too. With regard to the roadway, I know Dan's brought it up, that maybe their roadway doesn't meet our ordinance. I haven't seen that, and I looked, and maybe there's some verbiage there that needs to be looked at. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Well, I guess I'll say it. In the ordinance, there's a 60-foot right of way. I was under the understanding that was kind of a setback rule where you can't build. So if you got a roadway 30 feet on center of road, that's what I understood, because we had looked into that with building in other areas. But I think that's something that you guys should take a look at and see, because it just says a 60-foot right of way, so I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly how to, maybe when you look at plans that people turn in, you might have a better understanding of that. But Dan brought that up, so I thought it was worth throwing out to you guys that we can look at. And I'm looking into it as well, so that's about it. Any questions?
You're already running away anyway.
Yes. As fast as I can.
Thank you, Corey. Actually, I did find, that's a good question. I did find in our ordinance where we do allow in our ordinance a 50-foot. Actually, here it is. It's on page 211 in your ordinance book. And it would be, not quite, just a minute, Ron. It would be under chapter 13, 12, 090. It does actually allow for here it says on the table, a minimum right-of-way width is 60 foot. On level terrain, on a local road, it's allowed 50 foot. Hilly terrain is 60 foot. So I think the engineers for the developer looked at our ordinance pretty well, and I think that's why they came up with that 50-foot easement. But again, we have a month of homework to do on any concerns we have on that, and to listen to the public on their concerns and their thoughts.
So when you talk about 50-foot easement, that's inclusive of the setback rules and the roadway total?
Yeah, that's the roadway, right. So their setbacks would come from the end of that 50 foot. So in that, you're going to have, on a 50 foot, I believe you have 8 foot on each side of easement that wouldn't be paved.
Okay. So setbacks are additionally to that right of way then?
Right. So yeah, the setbacks would begin from the 25-foot mark of the center of the road. Can I have you hold your question till just a minute? We're almost done here with that. Anyways, thank you, Corey, and that's again something we can continue to look at. Police Commission.
The roll was great, the coffee was pretty good. Nothing new.
For your meeting? Okay.
Well, we did talk a little about how can we help improve the image of the officers in town.
Good. Thank you for the work you guys do.
Wash your hands every now and then.
Keep the car clean.
And we had no safety committee meeting this month. By the way, those safety committee meetings are kind of official meetings that we have how many, 4 times a year typically?
Typically.
We do have a safety meeting with our public works employees every week on Monday at 8 in the morning. So we're not ignoring safety. So public comment, and I'll take your question now.
So who, if you guys approve the subdivision, who keeps them accountable for the setbacks? Or do they just, you approve it and then you just hope that they stay within the parameters?
No, the planning board and obviously public works, and we'll keep on them about that. In this case, those lots, if they're sold off, those 10 lots where they're sold off, we'll actually be speaking directly with and making sure that each property owner that buys those lots and wants to build on them holds to our setbacks. So that's an ongoing process, and that's something the planning board will continue to be working with too. Making sure that either they follow those setbacks or they get the proper variance. Good question.
Can I add something that I might have forgot? I
Yeah.
just wanted to kind of let everyone know that out of all of this, it's been brought to our attention that our ordinances are pretty outdated. They're pretty old, and they were probably adopted from a town where theirs were old, and so on. And so in this year, and I say a year because it will probably take a year to sort of update these. If you're at all interested in the ordinances and giving some feedback, I would say attend these meetings because we're going to start to talk about this, what changes need to be made and things like that. I know people don't like more rules and restrictions, and I'm not saying that's what needs to be done, but we definitely need to look at some of this stuff, for the future of town, whether it be sidewalks or, street lighting, whatever it is, that the town wants. We're going to try to update these ordinances. So if you're interested, we got rip roaring meetings. They're just amazing and fun and interesting. So join us.
It's a totally good time.
There's no coffee.
Yeah.
My own coffee.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
I've got a couple things. I live up at P Hill, up on 32 P Hill.
And your name, sir?
Michael Law.
Okay. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, John. I spoke with John this past summer and everything. I want to get some clarification on the road, the one that goes between the apartments and the mobile homes. That road going up to P Hill there. It is all 2 pieces, and 200 foot of that road going in front of those apartments, there's 52 potholes in 200 foot. It's not it's a paved road, but it's surface treatment basically. It's not asphalt and it's breaking up, and we live up on the hill, come down through it several times a day, and Facebook, somebody put on Facebook post a couple days ago that they were tired of people running over the edges of their yard to avoid potholes. And they are doing that, because there's no other way around unless you want to bounce them all down the middle. And the other one is, I know the city has limited funds on a lot of things. Down Garber Street, going down Garber Street from up at the intersection, coming in from the Sinclair, y'all have made 3 cuts across that road, 2 of them last summer, and the other one that's on down between just east of Ryan Street there. And that has been open with gravel in it and potholes in it for the last 3 years. You cut the other 2 this summer, and they're still not backfilled. I mean, they're backfilled, but they're, gravel don't hold up on the city street, it beats out. And I know this is not the time for it to be put in or done something with, but the one's been there for 3 years, and it's now, because the water penetrates around that thing, there's 12 good-sized potholes around it now. The road's deteriorating because it was never closed back up and sealed. It lets the water get down in each one of these cuts, and every year it gets worse. And, you know, I talked to John about it, he said, well, we're having problems with, you know, people for cutting asphalt down and stuff like that. Well, I understand that, but, you know, if you're gonna cut something across the street, put it in your budget to fix it back. That's where it should be. If you're gonna tear it up, put it back. If it was a citizen that went across the street, you would mandate that we put it back. And y'all were not putting them back after you finish them. And this one particular one's been there, this summer will be over 3 years.
Okay, I was not aware of that. Thank you, Michael. And thanks for bringing our attention to that. We'll have the public works guys. Obviously, those cuts won't be able to be done until springtime,
Yeah,
but well,
I wouldn't expect
that's
it to
the
be
plan.
done this time of year. I've been in construction for years and I know how it works. The potholes on that other street over there, is that actually a city street between those two?
The one that goes up to the P Hill?
Yeah,
Is that-
the one that's right between the apartments and the,
Yes, it is.
okay.
Yes, it is.
What is it got a name? Because Ryan ends up in somebody's.
I think it remains Ryan. I believe it does.
After it makes the job.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
what I didn't.
And that's kind of on the edge of town. I'll actually have I don't know, we'll go look at that. I haven't actually traveled that road, but we'll look at it and see whether, even if we maybe bring out some 3/4 truss or something and grade it, I don't know. In my mind, I can't picture what kind of asphalt we have on that right now, so.
It's surface treatment, just a
Okay.
sprayed surface treatment.
Okay.
If you broke it up and put some gravel on it, rolled it back down, it'd be better than it is right now.
Yeah, appreciate your attention on that, Michael. We'll look into those things.
One more thing on it, we do go all the way up on P Hill. The city limits is way up on the road up there on P Hill. And I know y'all have not adopted the P Hill Road into the city, but do y'all consider it a city road?
We actually we haven't up until now, as far as I know. But I was looking at our city limits. Well, probably 2 or 3 months ago, probably more than that now. And you're right, the city limits actually show that it kind of goes up after that road kind of angles to the east. Yeah. As to how we would adopt that road, one thing is that we don't have a way of getting water up there. And so I think that's why it was never considered in the city limits.
Nobody's gonna build on those lower lots, and you don't have to put city water or sewer to the above lots. Plus, we did some research on that when we were building up there, and the storage tank up there at ground level, at that and where our house place is, there's only 6 foot of difference in the
Right.
storage tank, so it would be impossible to put expensive pumping in and everything like that. But you know, the road up through there, nobody's gonna build in below that road because it's like this. Nobody's gonna build on the upper side because it's just like this.
Yeah.
Where it's city, and that's if they did, they would have to cut them back down. And one guy tried to put a road in on the city end over there last year, and they went and staked out the limits of the road, the setbacks for the road and everything, and he couldn't even get a driveway behind it to come all the way out to the end out there. So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's pretty
appreciate your.
much a futile thing, other than it's the city property going up there. And
Yeah.
we usually plow it and everything, and try to keep it up in the wintertime, but the potholes down at the bottom, if we could get somebody to look into that. I've talked with John a couple of times
Yeah.
on it.
We'll look into that. Appreciate your attention on that. That's an ongoing discussion too, as far as the road on the P Hill goes, Michael. So we'll continue that discussion. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Sorry.
Mhm.
One last one. I meant to mention, so this ordinance,
Mhm.
is there a reason that it can't just say in town? In town limits or whatever?
Again, having looked, it's a dicey ordinance in that you have to give people freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and freedom of the business. So we've limited that the way other towns have limited it. If you Google it and kind of look at how those kind of ordinances have gone around the country and other places, this is kind of the most restrictive that we felt we could come up with. And again, the best thing typically to do is to look at other towns that have a similar ordinance, so that we don't get ourselves, in an overreach situation.
Is there somebody here that might know if the county has similar and similar ordinance for stuff like this?
Well, the commissioner's in the back. Do you have anything to say on that, Dan?
Oh, he is? Oh, wow.
You have a big smile on your face. Do you have something to say, Dan?
That felt like a setup. No, the county does not have anything like that, and I believe we've been told the county perhaps is even more restrictive on self-governing power, or what would be considered self-governing powers to even institute such a thing. Curious to me, and I would be, I mean, maybe some of you guys know, this sounds like an outright ban. I'm not saying that's good or bad or being advocating for it, but 2,500 foot from all of those things listed in alphabetical order.
That's what I asked.
Is there anywhere within the city limits?
Well, that's only because we have a small town, Dan.
Out of curiosity.
We can't help that.
Yeah, maybe, I don't, I mean, it's just a question. Did Lauren have a reason why you just couldn't ban outright?
We had seen the 2,500 feet, and I think there are those that really don't necessarily see the need for that type of a business. However, because we can't have an outright ban, the idea is to have it at least banned from a location close to things that we wouldn't want it to be. And it just turns out that, yeah, it'd be hard to find a property, I agree with you, where you could actually have that business. So,
I'm searching for it.
just turns out, yeah.
Who is this lady?
At least it's not a violation of the ordinance, man.
It was her.
Any other public comment? All right, just before we take a motion to adjourn, I will mention this, and thank you for Corey for bringing up ordinances. What I'm suggesting, and I think would be a good idea for the council to do, is be taking a couple of ordinances every month in our downtime between meetings to just kind of study those ordinances. And so for the month of February, if we could give you an assignment, it's there on your agenda, an assignment to read ordinance chapters 1 and chapter 7. And what I think would be great is to go through there with a highlighter and to look at anything that seems to be a little bit outdated or poorly worded, difficult to understand. Obviously, legalese is going to be difficult to understand, but something that might create a problem for the understanding of the public in the future. Just go through that with a highlighter and any of those concerns, if you would bring them up in our next council
Do you
meeting.
need to actually highlight the book?
I don't mind if you do. I highlight mine.
Just a
Dan?
question, Joel, because I can't remember by memory. What are you guys due to recodify your ordinance?
About a year ago.
We're working on that one.
I thought it was done. Was it not?
Our attorney is on it. Our attorney. Recodification basically is sorting all of the new ordinances, the amendments of the ordinance into a book. We have all of those ordinances, but it's basically to give us a new book. So feel free to highlight your book, because hopefully we'll have a new one as soon as our attorney gets it codified.
Maybe by the time I have to put it, if I'm running or not, we'll have a new book.
Yeah.
Should that be something we push off again? If there's changes that are planning, or are gonna be made? So it's not done this year and then again? Well, I don't know.
No.
5 years. Every 5 years.
And you're at, what are we at, year 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we did that every,
We're just running behind a little bit.
yeah, it's a fluid document. I mean, we're constantly amending, making amendments and things like that, and finding things as time goes. That's really why our subdivision ordinance is a little bit old, because there's just new regulations, new safety awarenesses, things like that, and so it's always going to be in flux. We just have to do it every 5 years, kind of put it all and say, okay, this is the finished product, and it'll only be finished for a month, and then we'll do something more on it. So it's life. It's kind of like life in general, right? So if there are no other, if there is no more public comment, and you all do your homework, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight. Have a swell evening.